Hello and welcome. My name is Bella, and today I thought I would show you a little glimpse into some of the things that I have been working on this fall season, some things that I've been making. I've been working on some new projects for decor around the house, as well as processing some llama fiber for spinning and knitting, as well as my normal knitting projects. And here are some of the things that I like to do in my free time when I'm cozy at home creating things that make me happy. So grab a warm drink and get comfy with something to work on. So recently I worked with a yarn dyer. Her name is Jewel from Wool & Twine, and she makes beautiful naturally hand-dyed yarn, and she made a sock yarn set that I recently purchased and been wanting to cast on. So every day I like to make my golden latte that you can see me making here to get ready for making things on the weekends. And yeah, we have this wonderful milk frother that gets our milk really warm and toasty and frothy, and it's a nice little luxury every day. So I've wound my cakes of yarn and ready to get started knitting. And you can see I'm using my iPad here. This is how I knit pretty much any pattern that I work on or design. I always like to knit with my iPad because it's easy to mark up, but I don't need to fumble around with a paper copy or lose any pages or anything. And it's really easy to highlight things, and yeah, I just love working on my iPad for knitting projects. So yeah, I recently worked with Wool & Twine on this sock set, and you will see soon here, I made some of my felted stitch markers to go along with that set, which you'll see here in a bit. But if you're not aware, I make hand-felted wool stitch markers, and this sock set was all inspired by mushroom and mushroom foraging. So I made my little mushroom guys for this sock set. So the way that I knit my socks, I always start out with magic loop, as you can see me doing here, and then I switch to 9-inch circular needles, which you'll see a little bit later on. But I think, for me at least, it works better when I'm using magic loop method here to get the socks started, and then I switch over once I have finished all the increases. So I'm working these toe up, so you can see the little bit of the toe I've started on. And this yarn has been really lovely to work with. It's quite thin, but gives a nice gauge, and it's quite soft for being a rustic yarn. This was my first time working with Wool & Twine's yarns, and like I said, they're all naturally dyed. Just beautiful, beautiful colorways. I really enjoy the yarn, and I will definitely be purchasing more in the future. So here you can see I've finished all the increases, and there's my little mushroom stitch marker that was part of the set, which it can actually be used as a stitch marker or a progress keeper, so you could even clip it into your knitting. But you can see here now that I'm finished with the increases. I just get started knitting in the round and go round and round and round, and here's my actual real-time speed knitting. A bit slower, but yeah, this is always my favorite part of the socks, when I can just go round and round and round and not really have to think about anything, and it's very relaxing and meditative. And another project that I've been working on, kind of a new tradition for us, has been to create some natural home decor for our home. So I saw this idea on the internet, and I just thought it was such a wonderful idea. So basically we've been going around in our local neighborhood just picking up leaves off the ground, and we're going to be using these for some home decor things around our house. And I would really recommend you would try this. It's a lot of fun. So we just forage some leaves from the ground. And one thing to note about this project is you want to make sure that you get fresh leaves that look like they've fallen that day. You don't want crispy leaves. So here, this yellow stuff, this is beeswax, and we're going to be coating the leaves in beeswax to preserve them. So yeah, you saw back there the beeswax was hardened, and I just like to keep the beeswax in some aluminum foil so that you can transfer it to a pot, but you don't have to clean the pot out afterwards because the wax will stay in the aluminum foil. So then any leftover wax that you may have at the end, any leftover beeswax, you can save it for later, for next time. But yeah, so this step is a lot of fun. I was working with my partner on this step. So all you have to do is just take the leaves and dip it thoroughly in the beeswax, and they'll get completely coated. And then you can see some of the wax will drip off. And then you just lay it, we lay it on a flat piece of parchment paper. And they will dry really, really quickly. Quite quickly they dry. And then we're going to be using these leaves for different little decor ideas. Yeah, I just thought it was such a wonderful idea. And then once these are starting to look not so great, they last about 2 months. They look just fresh as the day you got them. They look for like 2 months, for about 2 months, and then everything's biodegradable at the end. So there's no waste involved, and it's all natural. And I think they're just beautiful. I think natural fall leaves are just, it's my favorite time of year, mostly because of the leaves. So you can see once they have the beeswax on them, they get this really beautiful kind of matte sheen to them, and it just preserves the color and the suppleness so well. So here you can see my partner is dipping some more leaves, and I'm getting started on our fall wreath. So we've already had this up for a few weeks now, but this was a fun day when we went foraging for the leaves and then did this whole process. So I would definitely recommend doing this sort of thing with your family. And I'm most definitely going to be keeping this idea and trying this out with different plants and things throughout the year, seeing if I can use beeswax to preserve maybe flowers or other leaves. And this was another project that we did. We did a little hanging garland, sort of leaf garland, on our TV stand. I just thought it was so cute. So we got some little clothespins, some tiny little mini clothespins, and just hung it on some twine. And I thought it worked well for the fall season. So that was a really fun project to work on, and created such a beautiful look without any waste at the end when the season's over. And now we get into the fiber prep. So this is a lot of clean llama fiber that I have previously washed, and it was outside drying. And I've been working on combing it. I'm still trying to figure out the names of all the things. But yes, I'm very new to this whole process, but it's been a lot of fun so far. So these are my new combs, and the reason I got combs for this project was because I'd read online that combs were the best method to get vegetable matter out of fiber, and this llama fiber had a lot of vegetable matter, even after I washed it as thoroughly as I could without felting it. But yeah, so I've been working on this project off and on for a few weeks, and it's actually been quite fun. It's a very time-consuming process because you have to wash the fiber, then you have to card the fiber, and the carding takes a while. You will see here. It started out pretty compacted and a little not looking so well at first. Definitely not ready to spin, but the combs do a lot of good to fluff up the fibers and get all the vegetable matter out. I've actually been very pleased with these combs. If you're curious, I'm not sponsored at all by them, but if you're curious about the combs that I'm using here, I got it from a website, a shop on Etsy, so I'll link that down below if you're curious. But yeah, so this was about, now you can see here, this was about after one pass of all the fiber through the combs. And I usually need to do about 4 or 5 passes of a particular bunch of fiber to get it nice and fluffed up and all of the vegetable matter out. So it's clean at this point, but there's still grasses. Still lots of grasses through it. And I wanted to make it all fluffy and ready for spinning. But yeah, this process is definitely time consuming, but it's really fun and nice. And I have this kind of set up in our living room so I can kind of do this while I'm talking or watching a movie or something. So it's actually a nice process. So you can see now, even after just 1 or 2 passes, it's fluffed up quite a bit, and I'm still able to get some vegetable matter out. Oh, and I have a little bucket below this. You can't see here in this shot, but I have a bucket to catch all of the little grass pieces and such. And this llama fiber actually came from a local farmer to me, a local llama farmer, and she was just going to throw away this llama fiber. She said that she shears her llamas every year for the summer, so it's less hot for them. Me being in California, it can get hot in the summers, and so she shears them and then throws away most of the fiber because they don't really have any other use for it. So she was so kind to give me a big bushel to play with. So this was going to be trash, but now it will be turned into some sort of clothing. So here, this fiber has gone through about 5 passes and through the combs, and now I'm dizzing it off. This was a diz that I also got with the combs. And yeah, this llama fiber has been a bit of a struggle to work with because the staple length, the fibers are very short. So I have to diz it very close to the carders. Combs, I'm sorry, I keep saying that. Combs. But you can see now it's very fluffy and ready to work with. The diz does a very good job of getting all the fiber off of the combs and ready to work with. So this was another little batch of fiber that I did, and you can see there in the background that is my growing mound of ready to spin llama fiber. So these combs have been quite a worthwhile investment, and I know they will last me for many other fiber prep sessions. I also have some sheep's wool, some Romney wool that I'm going to be processing soon. And now we're ready for the spinning. So I have some started already and I'm adding to it now. I just have the bunch of llama fiber in my lap and I'm spinning from there. And when I was dizzing, you probably saw I tried to keep all the fibers going in the same direction because I found that helped my process with spinning the fiber. And my spinning kind of method for this fiber has been different than I would normally spin my fiber. I'm not exactly sure what the proper terminology would be for what I'm doing, but I'm kind of letting the twist from the spinning wheel up into the fiber a bit more, since this fiber is much shorter than I'm used to working with. I would say most of it is less than 2 inches of a staple length, so I'm letting the twist kind of do the work for me and take as much fiber as it wants to. I found if I try to do too much, if I try to, pull it or push it in a certain way it doesn't want to, then it's not going to work well. So I'm just letting the spinning wheel do its job and take up the fiber how it wants to. And you can see I'm picking out some little pieces left in, but really, honestly, those combs did a very good job. After about 5 passes, they get almost all of the vegetable matter out, and there was a lot in there, let me tell you. There was a lot of vegetable matter to get out, so it definitely helped a lot to open up the fibers and fluff them up. And I'm not sure, this llama fiber is very, very soft. It turned out very, very soft once, combed and spun up. I was actually quite surprised because I had read that llama fiber is tough or rough sometimes, but I'm very excited to be knitting with that soon. And I also have been sewing some pillows for home decor. So here's me cutting out our pillow, some of the pillow backings. And here was some fabric that I found online that I just thought was absolutely beautiful. Really pretty little birds. I thought that would go nice. So yeah, I just wanted some more decor, more kind of fall and winter appropriate pillow covers. We didn't really have any before, so I figured we needed some pillow covers, and why not sew my own since I have the capacity to. So there's my little Chewbacca bust there, paperweight to help with cutting out. It's actually really useful weight to use with my cutting mat and rotary cutter. This is my new favorite way to, well, maybe not new, I've been doing this for a few years now, but once I found this method, rather than just using shears, I have fallen in love. I won't go back to just using shears on fabric. I just find it so much easier and precise to use a rotary cutter, even for clothing, cutting out clothing and stuff too. So here's all the pillow fabric, all the fabric pieces ready and ready to sew. And they came out very, very well. So this was after I just cut the fabric and then I serged all the edges so that once the pillows were finished, then the insides would be nicely finished so that I could, if I needed to, toss these pillowcases in the wash and without the inserts in so that they could stay nice and clean and not fall apart because the edges are serged. So yeah, here they are after being serged, and then I sewed them up with some zippers in the bottom so that they could be nicely closed, but also taken off the pillows whenever I would need. And I really enjoy how they came out. And you'll see them on our couch in just a bit coming up. Getting good use. There's one in the background. So this is my cozy spot every night, just about every night. Curl up and have some knitting on the couch and just enjoy. So this project is one of the projects I've been working on, one of my works in progress, and this is a new design that I've been working on. You may have seen if you follow me on Instagram or perhaps earlier in one of my previous videos, one of my previous podcasts, but this is a sweater that the design is still unnamed. The inspiration for the name hasn't quite struck yet, but maybe you have an idea. But I really love how it's been turning out, and I've actually have more progress on this now, and it's coming along very well. It's going to be really drapey, but also cozy, and it uses my favorite Nutiden unspun yarn held with a silk mohair, so has the warmth, but also the drape and a lovely texture throughout. So it's got some interesting textures. So this is my favorite spot in the world, next to my partner, and cozy up with some knitting. So here I am working on the sort of hemline area of the sweater and about to cast off. So I've finished most of the hemline for the front of the sweater. It's going to be, the design has a split, sort of split sides hem. That was a really nice look, and I wanted it to be able to tuck into skirts and jeans well, so yeah, you can definitely make it as long or as short as you would like, but it's very cozy, very slouchy and comfortable. Thin but not too thin, nicely drapey. And here I'm working on the sewn bind off to give a really lovely edge. And yes, I am doing the sewn bind off with unspun yarn. I will link a little tip sort of tutorial video by one of my good friends here, Knitting Grace. She has a wonderful video to kind of explain. So you will see more about this project in my upcoming podcast episodes. And if you enjoyed, please do like this video and subscribe to this channel so you can see what I'm working on in the future. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.